Okay, so we got some new potential leaks this week from Ginger Prime regarding the internal alpha test last month. I want to go point by point as quickly as I possibly can. There are a lot of notes here that I took about the two videos that Ginger Prime made. I will have the link to his channel in the description if you haven't watched those videos. So the first point, it's a beautiful game. Yes, we've seen the videos. It does look very good. 2 weeks long, this is where the first point where I don't know, because all the leaks that I saw was April 4 to 9. Now it's very common for testing to get extended in games. So it's highly possible that they extended it based on feedback or based on they decided they needed to test some new things after making some changes to some bugs, fixing bugs, and they want to retest them, things like that. Huge world. The only thing that I've really seen on the world or that they've talked about, if you go to Throne of Liberty Everything Known, my page, search for world size, there is an interview, the first interview they ever did. So this is this is from quite a while ago, but the world might be small at first, but it'll be dense and it will expand and eventually be 20 times the launch size. So really they were going for a small world was the plan kind of in the interview they had early last year. And I'm not sure that much has changed with the game in terms of content in that amount of time. But who knows? Who knows? So zone level ranges, mobs do not scale to your level. I don't believe we had known that yet. I think I like that. I mean, I've seen both styles and I think I prefer zone level ranges. However, it does add more work for the developers and things like that. So I get why some devs have gone that route, but I kind of like the traditional old school zone level ranges. Day night felt great, took some learning. Yeah, the spiders at night. Yeah, I could see that. And that's one of the biggest draws of this game is the day-night cycles and affecting your spells and the weather and all those things do sound pretty cool. On paper, of course, we need to see it in game first. Seamless open world, 0 loading screens. I don't know that we necessarily knew that, but that's good to hear. You can fast travel at any point. This was something that we had no confirmation on yet that I could find anywhere. It uses gold. At one point, the Adena was known to be the in-game currency name, so maybe they've changed the currency name to gold. Who knows? There's a home base, like a Hearthstone, that you can go back to home. Morphs, the 3 different morphs we knew about already. Morph transitions are seamless, and we kind of assumed that based on, well, it's actually playing on the video right now. You can morph very easily back and forth. Gold is the in-game currency. There's a premium currency. 6 people in a group. We actually already kind of knew that, but it took some digging to find that out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then yourself would be 6. Okay, so that's where I got the 6-player party size. So we already knew that one. Leveling, character level, and weapon mastery. I'm not sure we actually knew that. Let me check. I'm not sure we knew that one yet, but that's kind of like how New World does it. I think I like that, if that's truly the case. Progression slow, yeah, I could see that being the case because that's very common in Korean MMOs. A lot of times, like, you get to a certain, like, soft cap quickly, and then there's, like, an infinite grind and like, no hard cap on progression. I hope there's some sort of hard cap, but I know opinions vary on that kind of system. English audio not fully finished. I'm a little surprised by that because they've had so much time while they're waiting on getting a publisher. And they mentioned way back in 2021 they were starting working on this. So a little surprised that potentially, and again, I say potentially because all this is speculative because I haven't talked to this source and I don't have any sources. So I'm leaving all this as speculation. I'm not adding any of this to my everything known because it's not official information. Combat 4 abilities per weapon on a one-hand weapon, 8 abilities on a two-hand, can swap weapons, so you have 16 total abilities. And it also says in here there's different skills you can put on your weapons, right? So you might have a great sword with 8 weapons and you can select different skills on that weapon. That's kind of how Guild Wars 2 does it. Like, you can slot in different skills onto that weapon. It's not a set 8 skills. Whereas New World, it's like 8, it's your 2 or 3 skills, or I think it's 3 skills on New World, which is incredibly low. And one of the problems I have with New World is how limited, the incredibly limited action set I'm not a huge fan of. We kind of knew this. There's a skill select screen. You got to watch very closely here, but here's your skill select screen. It's very hard to see, but you can see apparently there's your pool of skills that you can choose from, and it seems to be divided down the middle, and you can slot these into these 8 slots, and you have both weapon sets. So this would be weapon set 1, this would be weapon set 2. It looks like they have some sort of staff maybe here, and then over here maybe dual daggers or something, and you can slot your different weapons. And notice as well, we're going to get into this as well, there's different colors on these skills, and these relate to the skill rarities, I believe. So that we already knew, but you really had to dig to find that one, that there's 16 total skills that you can have, which I like that. I like having a good, healthy amount of skills, so I'm glad that we can have that many. No global cooldown. In theory, I like this. However, it can create problems. It created problems in Arcade. Black Desert wasn't really the global cooldown. It was more the the frames per second issue, where the higher your frames per second, the higher your DPS, and it was pretty dramatic to where people would turn their settings all the way down. Even if they had high-end video cards, they turned their settings drastically lower. Wand and Grimoire is the healing, and Staff is offensive. I don't know if I'd ever seen Staff. We've seen the lightning version of the Staff, and I assume there's probably like fire skills and different things that you can put on your Staff. Wand and Grimoire healing makes sense. Presets, we talked about that already. There's different presets and different skills you can have on your weapons. Skill rarities, gray, green, blue, and purple. So for skill rarities, I had only seen red. Red seems to be tier 1. Green and blue tiers are unknown. So this came from a Nico Tulo video. These were the only colors we had seen in videos. So I don't know about the other colors that he mentioned here. You know, who knows? I could see there being more than 3 skill rarities, possibly. Blue and purple from World Boss drops, and not sure if tradable. We didn't know that yet. Again, speculation on all this. Buying on equipped gear confirmed. Yeah, I could see that. Every MMO for the most part has that. Combat pets. Yeah, we had seen pets in all the trailers. We just didn't know what they were for. And it seems like it's used to, every one of them has a heal ability, and then there's also a special ability for each pet. Auto battle is incredibly weak, and there's auto pathing between quests. We already were pretty much, and not just from the leaks, but there was screenshots that I've shown in the Everything Known video. I'm not going to go through and try to find it for you guys, but in fact, it's like probably playing on the screen right now, but you can't see it because I have the other thing in the way. But there was a button in the console UI that literally said autoplay. And some people argued with me that's not autoplay, but it's autoplay. We've known this for quite a while, that there's some form of autoplay. And the auto pathing, I mistakenly have called this auto run before, but it's auto pathing. Auto run is completely different. So if you go to the bottom here, I think it was all the way at the bottom. Auto move to key services. This was a translated text in one of the UI screens. So we have actually known this for a while. It was in my February Everything Known About not Ashes of Creation. I just did the Everything Known About Ashes of Creation video, which I hope you guys will watch on May 21. It's an hour and a half long. But Everything Known About Throne and Liberty that I did in February, I mentioned this. I don't like either, and I really hope the reason for the delay into second half of the year is that they're removing both of these things. I don't think there's any reason for it in a PC MMO at all, and really, I don't know why they have it in mobile MMOs either, but I guess I somewhat understand mobile MMOs, but I don't play those, so it doesn't matter. I don't want it. I hope they remove it. I won't support it in any way. I don't care how minimized it is. I'm not a fan, and it shouldn't be in there. And NCSoft and New World, if you guys want to have a successful game, you have the opportunity in front of you to have a successful MMO, but you got to get rid of things that the players don't want. And neither of these things are things that players want. It's quite simple. And I find no way that you're going to make this work. So that's just my rant. I don't believe in it at all. There's a base auto attack. We didn't know that. Most MMOs have some kind of thing like that. But a lot of MMOs recently have kind of gone away from that. Guild Wars 2 went away from that. Ashes of Creation is going away from a base auto attack. You actually have to physically press a button to do what would have been the auto attack. Not all abilities root you in place. If this is true, this is big, big, hopeful news, and I hope this is true because I really, from watching the gameplay, there seemed like there was a tremendous amount of rooting. So we have to know what percentage this is because, yes, if 2 or 3 abilities out of 10 don't root you in place, well, that's not enough, in my opinion. Level cap unknown, 60 was the highest they saw. We've seen higher. Okay, so here's the correct source. This is a level 66 transformation. I actually have seen a 62 that wasn't transformed. I don't have that link though, but it's in the gameplay trailers that have been released. So it's definitely higher than 60 unless they've changed that, which I doubt they would change something like that. Fishing, crafting, gathering. Yeah, we've seen some of the gathering and crafting. Well, we haven't seen crafting yet. Gathering is great is what Ginger said. Yeah, he says gathering and crafting is great in New World. I disagree. I think gathering is pretty good. Probably the best gathering we've seen in an MMO, but that's really the only thing to me that New World has gotten right. The rest of it, I think they've pretty much failed at. That's just my opinion. I'm not a fan of New World. I think it's a massive failure, and the numbers show that. And if Amazon wants to exist as a company, they need to not botch Throne and Liberty, which they might be botching. And we've seen a lot of evidence that it could be happening, right? Crafting is nothing special to me in New World. That's my opinion. It's nothing really that extraordinary. But the Gathering is quite good. But they said the Gathering was not as enjoyable as New World. Yeah, and I haven't seen a lot of Korean MMOs that put too much into the Gathering. There's no auto gathering. Good to hear that. The Codex we've heard about before. We didn't know really what it was. And it gives you all the possible drops from the creatures you've run into. Inventory is weight-based. We've seen this from a tooltip. Again, the Elixine tooltip, you see the weight-based inventory. We've known this for a while, so that is nice. And they said that consumables don't take up much inventory. This is a stack of 268, and it's taking 6% of your inventory. So yeah, it looks like you can have pretty large stacks and they don't affect your inventory that much. I'm not a huge fan of weight-based inventory, and it opens up potential for pay-to-win. And a lot of this stuff that was mentioned opens up pay-to-win potential. The guild system was supposedly good. There's some sort of auction house type thing within the guild, and that's basically all we know there. Open world dungeon, the deeper you go, the harder it gets. There's a currency that you get in the open world, and it's expended in the dungeon and increases your XP in the dungeon. Again, this opens up pay-to-win possibilities where you can buy this currency if you don't want to go farm it and level faster. PvP, different zones can be fought over. You don't get notified if you enter a PvP zone. The boss fights turned off the PvP. In the past, they have said that the open world bosses had PvP turned on. And even in the dungeons, they were supposedly turned on. And raid bosses were supposed to be turned on. Yeah, so the Queen Bloody boss, whatever. But the boss was designed to not be too complicated considering that PvP may occur. So at least at one point, PvP was on for at least this one particular raid boss. NPCs can buy your junk, and there's a marketplace auction house that you can sell your stuff at. Standard stuff, character creation was great, picture of your face. Yeah, we've known about the AI stuff that they've had for a while. Contracts are the main way to gain XP, number of contracts per day. Yeah, so again, there's like, you can get a set number of contracts at each city, but do they put in pay to win where, oh, here's some more contracts if you pay us some money? Again, it's another way they could add pay to win. Wolf Morph will keep you from being attacked by wolves, and it's all of the morphs are a very smooth transition. I like that. That's cool. No dodge rolls, but there's disengage spells. Yeah, and if you go to I think it's counterattack, one of these spells, I forget which one, but yeah, there was one that would do an attack and then vault backwards. So we've seen some disengage spells, but there's no dodge rolls. I kind of like dodge rolls if done correctly and not just be like an iframe like Guild Wars 2 does it, and a lot of games have done. Be an actual dodge. Even with tab, like if you have projectile collision in place, you can do that. But that's not what they have, so that's fine. Again, like they can have a grid game if they get rid of the auto pathing, the auto combat. They go okay with the monetization. They don't go overboard. And if the combat's good, they could have a tremendous, highly successful game. And that's all they need to do. But the problem is they're not eliciting feedback from the players, and they're just kind of throwing it out there. And hopefully the reason for the delay is to fix a lot of those issues, but we don't know yet. Hopefully we'll know more soon. That's all I have, guys. I don't know what is real and not from this stuff. We don't know. There's some things that line up with what we've seen in the past and some things that don't. So that's all I have, guys. I hope you liked the video. I hope you watched the Ashes of Creation Everything Known that's coming out later this month. And with that, guys, I'll see you in the next video.